about things not being like too professional to get like I'm already live while I'm talking about this. Like that's fine. This is what this is what we do on Getting Dicey. Is the first 5-10 minutes is just us just messing around, but we'll try and cut that down to a minimum since it's not a Getting Dicey show tonight. It's the crossover show tonight. First of all, thanks to everyone.
Famed for their professionalism.
yeah. As we will see a professional DM at work tonight who definitely does not wing it, from what I've heard.
You made him run away.
Yeah. Thanks to everyone who's already in the chat, ready to go. There's a decent amount of you at the moment, which is great. It was nice to see some of you guys earlier today when I did my prep stream, getting ready for tomorrow night's session. We also unveiled our trading cards, which are deactivated now. We deactivated them tonight because we wanted you guys to be able to focus on the stream, on this wonderful crossover, and not just sitting there spamming the chat with unlocking our collectible cards. So I'm going to hand you over to Brendon, who's at the very top there, who's going to be the host for tonight. As you can see, I'll let him explain what's going on the screen. So, Brendon, they can see exactly what you're seeing here. There's the 9 or 8 videos, 7 videos, I can't count, with the drawing happening up the top left. So, take it away, Brendon.
Kia ora koutou, my name is Brendon, and I'm going to be your guest dungeon master for this evening. I've created a special adventure tonight, kind of inspired by growing up watching too many like buddy cop movies and that kind of thing. I've just like put it all in a big pot with some D&D, and I've mixed it all around, and this is whatever was kind of stuck at the bottom when I overcooked it. And I'm too quiet, so I'm just going to get closer to this microphone.
Perfect.
Is that great? So my regular show is Dungeons and Comedians, which and always assisting me when I do that show is Andrew Kepple, who is going to be providing live illustrations along with whatever happens. So if you look over there, you'll see Andrew's screen where whatever happens, he is going to draw it. So that's going to help you. You know, we're not going to be using battle maps or anything like that. So this is mostly like theater of the mind. You're going to be visualizing what's happening, but Andrew's illustrations are going to help that. So I'm going to hand it over. I'd like all of the players to, if you could introduce yourself. We'll meet the characters later on, but I just want to know who you are and what show or shows you're associated with.
Before we do that, I just want to interrupt because of course there's tech issues just straight off the bat. I just need to make some quick changes because I think Discord is set to do some noise reduction when people talk. So I'm just going to quickly make that change. I think we're good. No, okay, we're good. Okay, we're good. Sorry for interruption.
We're good.
Yeah, we're good. We've got to get that out of the way before it like becomes a problem.
Professionalism.
yeah.
Okay, Gareth, why don't you start us off?
Oh, hi everyone. I'm Gareth Ward. I'm a steampunk author from Hawke's Bay. I have my first fantasy novel coming out next year, which I'm very excited about. And I'm a player in the Kiwis and Dragons podcast, which goes out weekly.
Harriet.
Hello everyone, my name is Harriet, Harriet Prebble. I'm the producer and a sorcerer in The Road Unknown. So we don't do weekly, we were doing weekly, but so we've just finished our first season and then we're prepping for our second season at the moment. So yeah, Wellington based.
Okay, we're still having questions about the audio.
Okay, one second, sorry. There's a very specific option that I'm trying to find here, which of course, here we go. That's the one I was looking for. All right, let's give that a try now. Can everyone just, so Brendon, can you just say some more stuff?
Yes, hi, I'm Brendon, and
Perfect.
I'm in Christchurch at the moment.
Perfect, that's good. There we go.
Richer, the 03.
Yeah, chat's saying much better. It also wouldn't be a Getting Dicey stream without technical issues in that first which is why we mess around for like 5-10 minutes. All right, good to go.
Okay, next, Julz.
Hey, I'm Julz. I part of the podcast Fate of Isen, where I play too many characters, and also Diceratops, where I play Mascara Stormfire. My God, I don't even know my own character's name. It's because I'm confused about what I'm playing today. But I also am a quest book dungeon master, so you can hire me to run games for you as well, which is fun.
Awesome. And Michael.
Hello, I'm Michael Sharpe. I am a player on the notorious podcast Dungeons and Dipshits, where I play Tony Spark, the Artificer Wild Sorcerer, and Mayonnaise Enthusiast. Previously, I was the host and creator of Guardians of the Gygaxy, which I murdered.
Sorry.
No, fair enough. I did murder it.
Okay, and he's ready to kill again. Beware, everyone. And Reagan, I think you should introduce yourself again.
Yeah, I'm assuming we've got a few people in the chat who probably aren't familiar with Getting Dicey. I'm the DM for Getting Dicey. We're running through Curse of Strahd at the moment, and I'm known for putting up little faces of our characters and talking through them for all of the NPCs. So, yeah, if you don't know us, definitely pop in sometime and say hi.
Yeah, honestly, you've got to check it out. It is so cool.
Thank you.
All right. Do we have any other kind of business, or shall we play Dungeons and Dragons?
Let's play.
All right. Now it's time for the preamble. First of all, a little a little heads up. Sometimes we might play a little bit loose with the rules tonight, just so that we can get the adventure in on time, if you know what I mean. Tonight's adventure is called City Watch Waterdeep, although it may not be the Waterdeep you know. It's the TV version of Waterdeep that is actually filmed in Toronto because it's much cheaper.
Funny.
City of Waterdeep. They call it that because this town is sink or swim. There ain't no shallow end in Waterdeep. In a city where the rich and pristine sits alongside the gross and corrupt, there's only one thing holding the chaos at bay, like a sponge plugging a hole in a dam. The Waterdeep City Watch. The old joke goes that they got their name because all they do is sit and watch as crime goes unchecked. A fair assessment? In some cases, maybe. But at least one group is still trying to hold the line against the forces of anarchy. It still tries to be both lawful and good, though not always at the same time. They're known as East Tower Second Squad, and this is their story.
Do we have a theme song?
Dun-dun.
Yeah.
Second Squad, you are on a stakeout. You are waiting outside. It's mid-morning. Across the road from you is the temple to Saint Conga the Eel Friend. Now, this was a saint that was very popular about 60 years ago, but the temple has fallen on hard times now. So it's a little surprising that there are so many grey-cloaked acolytes going in and out of the temple. Something very suspicious about this. That's what's brought you here today. That, and the fact that last night in a bar fight, a halfling drank some kind of potion and then ripped the wall off the tavern before their head exploded. Now, when you investigated the vial that they drank from, it said, Potion of Clod Giant Strength.
Not Cloud.
And, no, Clod Giant. There seems to be a typo on the label.
Okay.
And you, by looking very closely, you noticed there was an eel scale stuck to the vial of potion, now empty. That is what has led you here. Now, Second Squad, I want you to each describe your character. Who are you, and what are you doing right now? How do you fill in time when you're on a stakeout? So we'll go in the same order we just went before.
So I'm Columbo Daynut. I'm a dwarf wizard. I was thrown out of my clan because my IQ was higher than my axe size, and I ended up by various recourse becoming a member of the Watch. To amuse myself while we're on stakeout, I generally polish my axe, and that's not a euphemism.
All right. You've been here for a while, and your axe is now, reflecting the sunlight into everyone's eyes and distracting them.
Excellent.
Harriet.
Yeah, g'day. My name's Galena. So I'm a lizard folk ranger, and I'm a big girl, really, but I like it that way. I have scales that are yellow, and I wear little shorts and a little crop top, and high socks, which probably would look pretty sexy on someone else, but actually, unfortunately, doesn't really do a lot for me and my physique. When I'm on this particular stakeout, I've actually got an ingrown toenail that's been really bugging me. So I'm just using one of my short swords to try to dig it out, but it's not coming. But I'll get it.
Okay, I'm going to ask you to make a sleight of hand check.
Gross. Oh, damn, that's a 21, my friend.
Not only do you manage to slice off the ingrown toenail, you manage to turn it into some kind of decorative sculpture.
Yeah, nice, beautiful. And I show everyone, just put it right in their face. Look at that. Whiff it.
All right, you hand it over to the watch person right next to you, Julz.
I don't know what to do with that, but what you do hand it to is again, stocky, sort of large female with very thick hair, places that you can see. Not that she's like got a hairy face, she's human, but just like her eyebrows are incredibly bushy. And, like the backs of her hands, the hair's a bit darker than it probably should be. So she's pretty covered, like long sleeves and long pants. Doesn't want people staring at that. Yeah. That's kind of what you see. Timber Whiterun is a human blood hunter / paladin. So, yeah. Yeah, and the watch, I guess she's just like watching everybody else suspiciously. Pretty much she spends the entire time assuming somebody's going to do something against her.
Wait, so you're watching the other members of the watch?
Yes.
All right. And next to Timber, we have...
So next to Timber, you see a hairfolk. He is the stature of Danny DeVito with lop ears coming down the sides of his face. He's sort of a chestnut brown, and he's holding a mouse in his hand in a very spirited debate over how long it's going to take for that toad to get infected. And he's just like, hey, yeah, I know it's going to get infected pretty soon. I mean, she doesn't even wear shoes most of the time, but, it's pretty disgusting that she just handed it over. And his name is Fluffnutters.
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 Fluffnutters. Perfect. There's one more member of the squad.
Tuvold Fortis is a 573-year-old elven fighter who's been on the force for 399 years, and he's only one day from retirement. And he's got his nose down with a pen and some paper, and he's kind of lost in thought. And what anyone would see if they were looking over his shoulder is he's trying to write maybe his retirement speech. He's trying to think about it, and he's quiet, and he's just lost in thought as he's writing this out on the stakeout. and I'm sure everything will
Alright.
be fine. Just the last day before retirement, I'm sure everything's going to go just fine.
All right, nothing will go wrong today. It'll be absolutely super. We just have a nice quiet day like today, and then you can retire and do whatever you want to do when you retire.
I mean, if anyone's gonna die, it's gonna be our friend over here with the toe.
O doesn't
All right,
imply
from some
death.
sort of septis.
Yeah. I'm not sure you know how to actually look after that properly.
I'll have you know that I have an infected toe more often than I don't.
Case in point.
I'm sure it'll be fine. Saliva heals all. You just kind of lick it a little bit, and everything goes well.
Are you trying to lick my toe? Because I'm not about that. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. Just watch yourself.
Your minds are drawn back to the case at hand. You know that there's something going on inside this temple. Or what? What would you like to do?
What do you reckon, Sarge? Do you think we should go and have a look inside, like?
I think.
Well,
I'm sorry. You talking for us now? Fluff nutters, are you? Who's the?
Well, I mean,
just because I'm one day from retirement doesn't mean you get to take over the force quite yet. This is my operation for now.
By all means. I mean, I was just gonna send my birdie bell over there. And,
I know how it goes. We get a little bit long on the tooth, and you youngins try and start pushing us older folk out. You're getting the badge tomorrow. Don't you worry.
I joined the force a week after you.
But yes, I think it is about time we maybe talk to Investigating. What time is it?
It is 11 a.m.
Well, it's 11 a.m. I think we were here a little early. I thought, what time were we meant to be here?
11:30.
Oh, we could probably have some time for some morning tea then before we go investigating, like.
Ooh,
Maybe a little
second
fry
breakfast.
up.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds like a good plan. Because nothing bad ever happens in the morning, because all the criminals, they like to sleep in, don't they?
Do you know?
So you've been there for about an hour, observing the comings and goings.
Is there a back way into the temple?
Yeah, I think this is kind of how the City Watch gets a bad reputation, but because people think we sit around and don't do anything. We probably should go investigate.
So yeah, what's the environment that we're in at the moment? What is are we inside the temple, hidden away? Are we outside, looking over at the entranceways? Where are we right now?
Okay, so this area is pretty run down. There's a lot of abandoned buildings around. So you are across the road, directly across the road, in what used to be a theatre, but it is also abandoned. So you are holed up in there. You're looking through there's like, posters for plays that were performed, 30 years ago. You've cut holes in the eyes of the posters so that you can look through, that kind of thing.
What do you see out there, Galena?
Oh, let me have a look. I mean, I can see the temple that we've been looking at.
Good, so that hasn't gone anywhere.
Does that answer your question? Yeah. And I can see. What can I see? Can I see anything other than that?
You want to roll a perception?
I do. I definitely did. 12.
12. Okay, actually, before we talk about that, I just remembered something. I just want to remind you that every member of City Watch is given certain equipment. So I just want you to add the following things to your inventory. So first of all, you all have a horn of backup. When you blow this silent horn, the other members of your squad will instantly know your location and a quick way to get there.
Cool.
You also have your City Watch vest, which gives you +5 to your armor against non-magical ranged attacks. You have a City Watch badge. When presented, you gain +2 on intimidation rolls. And finally, you have Horatio's specs. Once per crime scene, you may make a pun that sums up the crime before putting on or taking off these specs. On a successful pun, you gain a point of inspiration.
Fantastic.
So, Dolina, you are peering out the hole. You're watching who's going in and out. So you see quite a few of these acolytes to Saint Conga. They wear these grey robes that have this kind of slightly scaly look to them. You notice that for a temple that is this out of favor, there's a lot of acolytes going in and out, and no worshippers.
I mean, should we
Columbo,
just
Sarge.
Columbo, you mentioned whether there was another entrance in. You do notice that there is an alleyway down the side of the temple, and that you see a wagon kind of go down that alleyway.
What do you reckon, Sarge? Should we go in the front or go in the back?
Well, I know which way I've always preferred.
Yeah,
Usually sniffing out the back is always a good move.
That's what I always say. Let's follow your lead this time, Timber. You've got a good eye for detail. Always have.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Totally. She's new. She's excited to be recognized.
so sticking our nose in the back, then let's do it.
Yeah. Let's. Yeah. Okay. Are we going? Let's just. Yeah. With a watch, we can go anywhere, right? Like, so we don't need to hide ourselves. I think we'll just go. And she just like stands up proudly and just sort of marches towards the back, assuming everybody is going to follow her.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
Galina's following suit.
Yep,
Right.
fluff nutters will come.
So the five of you in your City Watch uniforms march out of the theatre, across the road, and down the alleyway down the side of the temple. Out of the corner of your eye, you notice you being noticed, and there is a bit of movement as a couple of acolytes run inside.
Are there like windows to this place?
There are no windows along the side. It's a big stone temple, but you do see ahead of you that wagon that you saw going in, and it looks like some crates being loaded onto it.
From inside the temple.
Yeah. I think Timber goes. Hello, what have we got here? Because she thinks that's how everybody's supposed to talk in the world.
Tuvok just, like,
Direct
puts
voice.
his head in his hands, just kind of like, oh, okay, and just lets it unfold.
So there are two acolytes who are holding this crate between them, and they're a bit surprised, and they kind of drop it a bit too suddenly down onto the wagon, and you hear the kind of clinking of glass as it goes down. They look panicked for a moment, but it doesn't seem like anything broke. How can I help you, officer? You
What's in the box?
want to know what's in the box?
Yeah, show us what's in the box.
Actually, sorry. And he reaches into his robe and he pulls out a little scroll, which he unfurls and says, the Temple of St. Conga, the eel friend, has religious immunity, so you're going to have to leave unless you have a warrant. Then he rolls the scroll back up and puts it away, quite proud of himself.
And I think Timber turns around and goes, well, he's not wrong. That is actually the rule.
Well, I think I'm going to put my axe against his chest and say, here's my warrant. What's in the box?
All right. Sounds like an intimidation roll to me.
With my badge, do I get a +2?
You do if you hold up your badge.
That doesn't make any difference on what I rolled. It was a 2.
Amazing.
Okay, yes, you hold the axe around the wrong way, and it's more embarrassing than intimidating.
Let's.
You
let's leave these fine chaps to their own device. Squadron, let's just keep moving. And
Just hold on for a second. Just hold on for a second. Hey, buddy, that was pretty embarrassing. What you need? Potion of dexterity.
He needs a lot more than that. I mean, should we have a look at this warrant first?
Are you selling them? Is that
Well, for the right price, that could be arranged.
what's the right price?
1 gold.
1 gold for
Well,
a potion of dexterity.
Is selling
Right.
potions illegal? That's not illegal.
I was gonna say. Timber leans over to Galena and goes, "Is this against the law?" Like, I
Nah,
don't-
but also in terms of like the law. So what happens is, Timber, is that actually we make the law because we are the city watch. Yeah.
You've learned
That's
well,
how it-
Galena. You've learned very well.
Yeah, I've been listening to you. So when we decide that something is legal, then
Correct.
it is fine to purchase.
That's right.
So if we buy it, then it's okay.
In fact, oftentimes we don't even actually have to buy it. We can just seize it. You will learn this word seize, and that means you can just take things for free.
Ah,
Yeah.
I thought
I
that
think
was
it's time for
about to
someone to
say
make
that.
a history roll.
I was going to say that, you look like you don't really want people looking into what you've got in those boxes. So maybe if you just gave us, like, one of the things that was inside it, then we could just, like, carry on patrolling elsewhere.
If no one else did a history roll, I got a 3. Sorry.
You are certain that potions have existed through a lot of history.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got a 17.
All right. Well, you remember, of course, when the Waterdeep Alchemists Guild put a lot of pressure on the mayor, and the sale of unregulated potions is in fact illegal.
Okay. So I hear all of this and I go, but I thought the sale of unregulated potions was like illegal or something. Didn't I read that somewhere?
Yeah,
All right,
that-
back it up, back it up, back it up. They start trying to trying to push the wagon down the alleyway, even though it's a dead end and you're in the way of the open end of the alleyway. All right, nothing to see here, nothing to see here. Off you go.
And she's still asking questions. This is all the sun rivals behind. So is this unregulated? How would we know? Like, she's still...
Oh, easy enough. There's normally spelling mistakes all over the bloody things. Now, let's... Fluffnutter, quick! And he sort of grabs Fluffnutter and sort of tries to get in behind the wagon. So grabs Fluffnutter by the paw.
Yep.
Well,
Let's,
I do believe we probably need to get a good look at least the labels on these if you're going to sell them to us.
agree.
So he hands you a potion of dexterity, but it's like DECKST dexterity.
Looks good to me.
Yeah,
you-
that's fine.
Well, that's not how we spelt it at the academy.
It's a dialect thing. Tell you what, can we sample one before we buy more?
He holds it out. You want to drink it? You can.
I pour it down the gullet of my little mousy friend.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, go, buddy. Eat up. It's good.
Alrighty, just need to roll a dice for no reason.
Love it.
Okay, the mouse's eyes like bulge, and then starts to run around at like double its normal speed, leaping around, and then suddenly, as if its heart stopped, it just falls on its back.
So it seems it gives him fatigue.
I think he's dead.
No, that's
Well,
just-
you would think that, but mice often do this. They stop moving for long periods of time, sometimes hundreds of years.
and Timber's down on all fours sniffing it and going, no, that's definitely dead.
No, his name
Oh.
is Steve.
Columbo, he used to be part of the Alchemist Guild before he trained as a wizard. That's in his backstory. So could he do a bit of examination of the potion to see if he could sort of understand what's gone wrong with it?
Yeah, sure. Medicine? Would that be medicine?
There is a medicine. Oh, that's probably not going to make any difference with that roll. 9.
9. You think that it's got bad ingredients in it?
Or I don't think you made that potion properly.
Yes, I
I
do
don't
think
think it should have killed that mouse.
we're probably going to have to confiscate this, I'm afraid, gentlemen.
Sergeant, does that mean we get to arrest somebody?
We get to seize the potions, as Galena mentioned earlier. Like, is
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, seize them all.
Okay, they're gonna make a break for it. So what they're gonna do is they're gonna just tip over the crate of potions so that they smash at your feet, and then they are going to just try and run down the alleyway. So you can either jump out of the way of the spray of potions, or you can try and grab them.
I have this thing where, as a bonus action that does not provoke an opportunity, I can jump my proficiency times 5 in feet.
Wow.
Okay.
So that is 15
translate to?
feet into the air. I do that.
Nice.
And can I also cast Thorn Whip on one of them?
I don't see why not.
Okay. So Fluffnutter leaps into the air, and he gets a nat 20.
Ooh.
Nice.
Nice.
Proof. And it is with my wisdom modifier. That is a 27.
So yes, you leap skillfully into the air over the top, like sailing over this like spray of different potions mixing together. Your whip wraps around the legs of the fleeing acolyte, and he falls face forward into this spreading pool of potion,
And
completely incapacitated.
as Fluffernutters is coming down, he pulls out his sunglasses and says, "Don't worry, I don't think he healed a thing." What? Oh.
Yes, your specs activate, and you gain a point of inspiration.
Thank you.
I'd like
he
to
also
try and
took
just
damage. He takes 8 damage.
8 damage. Okay. Yes. I'll also say you've got him lassoed.
I'll just try and grab the other one as he runs past.
Okay.
Maybe hit him with the flat of my axe.
All right. Then, do you want to make an attack with the axe? Then?
Sure. So that's 16.
Okay. Yeah. You. He kind of runs into the flat of your axe, and again,
Like with the handle, I just try and clothesline him.
yeah, great. So he flips up and lands on his back next to the other one.
Timber's like, you really like the other... I've seen people use the sharp bit of the axe before. This is interesting. She's taking notes.
Galena definitely
Oh,
tried
yeah.
to grab a potion or to stop the potions from falling if possible.
Okay. We'll make a dexterity saving throw.
Oh no. Big save. Oh, that's a 14.
Okay, you are able to grab one, but you also get splashed with potion, and there's a bit of a sizzling on your exposed legs.
Yep, they are exposed.
As you're hit with a mixture of different potions, and you're going to take 4 damage.
Versus.
When I clothesline the one that falls into the portion, I want to put on my sunglasses and say, I hadn't finished asking you my questions.
What have I done?
What have you done, though? What have you done? This is on you. You created this item.
To be fair, I would have made puns either way.
All right, yes, you get a point of inspiration.
Woo!
I think
Okay.
Tuvold is just busy like binding the hands of these people, and he's talking. All right, well, I think we've figured out something's not quite right here, and maybe now is the time to get into action. Is there any way up into like a? Is there any way that we might be able to get high up into this temple from the outsides?
Oh yeah. So actually, now that the wagon has been pushed away, you can see a doorway into the side of the wagon. Big double loading doors.
Okay.
What should we do with the two criminals? I mean, should we drag them with us, or should we tie them up out here? Hog tie? I mean, I know there's I've definitely read what we're supposed to do with them a long time ago.
Yeah. I think hog tie. I think that's a great idea. If we can just bind
Yeah.
it.
Tie them up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Tie them up and chuck them in the wagon.
and Timber will walk over to them and give them both a really long, uncomfortably close sniff, like right up. And then she's like, "It's okay, if they run, I'll find them." And she sort of casts like Hunter's Mark. Yeah.
Perfect. Tuvold sort of makes his way up to these big double doors and just creaks one open a little bit just to see what he can see inside.
Okay, it's a dark room, but directly in front of you, inside the door, is a platform that you can see. It's a kind of an elevator that would take you down, like you get in a loading dock or something like that. So it looks like these crates and things have been raised up on this platform and then taken out into the alley.
Looks like those crates have been lifted up out of this area and taken out into the alley. I think there's something happening underneath this temple. I think we've...
Down the
Under
elevator?
section 18 of the city ordinances says because they've committed a crime, we're allowed to go in there and have a look.
That's what I was going to say. Thank you. Thank you,
Yeah.
Columbo.
Oh, you're welcome.
And there's no one else in that area of the temple?
No.
Okay, cool. So yeah, Tuvold just like confidently walks in, hand on the hilt of his long sword, even though the rest of the crew knows that this sword hasn't been taken out of its sheath for the last 200 years. Like, it's not being used.
So the five of you step onto this platform and you see a lever that will take you down into the basement of the temple.
Did the people in the alley have robes, like those grey robes?
They did.
Do you think it'd be worth like taking their robes and maybe someone just putting them on to try and blend in a bit?
I mean, just in terms
Right.
of the reputation of the City Watch, if we leave them hog-tied and naked, that's a little bit different.
To be fair, it's not the worst we've done, is it? You know.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Besides,
Yeah, maybe a couple.
We're the Watch. We shouldn't be ashamed of ourselves. We should be proud of ourselves. We're part of a noble, well, sort of, mostly kind of noble group.
Oh, it's
We
not
can-
really
we
about
can
being
make it-
ashamed.
Noble?
It's about spying, isn't it? Undercover. We can be like undercover.
As you're talking, the elevator starts to lower down.
Okay.
The five of you start to descend into the basement. The basement is an enormous stone chamber. Here are the things that you can see. On the opposite side of the room is an enormous statue of Saint Conga, the eel friend, the patron saint of befriending eels. The statue is of him with his arms outstretched, holding an eel in each hand.
It's a
On the
beautiful
floor,
statue.
Nice.
People who are familiar with the cult of Saint Conga will know that normally in a temple there would be enormous eel pens on the floor. But these pens have clearly been repurposed. There's all kinds of different chemicals bubbling in these different pens in the floor. Running above them are catwalks. And you can see a few grey-robed figures walking along these catwalks, dropping different ingredients into the different potions. Along the walls of this cavernous room, there are a bunch of like barrels and casks and crates with bottles of potions in them.
Right, I think we should split up. Maybe 3 of us this way, 2 of us that way. If we can get up there and surprise them, we can stop this operation today.
Yeah, all right. Timber with me. Come on.
Okay,
Alright.
Sarge.
Well, Sergeant, I guess I'm coming with you. It'll give us a chance to talk about your retirement plans.
Oh, yes, my retirement plans. I almost forgot. It is my last day on the force, isn't it? Tomorrow.
What is it? 8 hours left on this shift?
And it's only been 399 years. It hasn't felt any more than maybe 250.
Ugh,
Or
time flies.
let's hope nothing bad happens today then.
In a
That'd be
place like
terrible,
this,
wouldn't
with people like you, how could it? And he makes his way towards one of the ladders up to the gangways.
I'll follow right behind.
Don't fall.
Okay, so Tuvold, you're going along the catwalks.
He's making his way up to the
Fluffnutter,
gangways, yeah.
Fluffnutter, you're following behind.
Yeah,
Where is everyone
I'll go
else?
with them as well.
Okay. Timber and Galena.
What? Can you explain how the catwalk is? Because in my mind, I was thinking that we would come from either side of it. Is there a possibility, or is there only one way up to the catwalk?
Oh, there are other ways. So they run kind of crisscrossing the whole cavern. So if you snuck around kind of the sides, you would be able to come up the other side of the catwalk.
Yeah, that's what me and Timber are doing. I think that's what Sarge told us to do. So we're gonna honor our Sarge.
How many
Sounds like
people,
a classic envelopment.
How many people up on the catwalk?
There are 6 figures. They don't have any visible weapons, but they are wearing these long cloaks.
I'm just going to cast Mage Armor on myself because my copper's gut says things are going to go a bit pear-shaped in a minute. We might end up with a bit of a rumble.
And Tuvold is kind of looking out to the crew across the other parts of the catwalk, and he's doing that kind of like pointing at his eyes and pointing at you guys and sort of trying to point out, like, it's all a bit of a mess. Like, he's sending clear signals of who should be going where, but he's doing it too quickly and maybe you can't quite pick up. There's one pointing at Galena and then over to Timber, but then there's pointing at 1 or 2 of the guys in the middle, and then behind him Fluffnut as he just signals for him to come along and starts slowly just making his way towards the closest cloaked person.
Okay, I think Galena and Timber, I want you to make stealth checks if you're trying to stealth your way around to the other side.
Yeah, nice. Galena, just before we do that, is going to cast Pass Without a Trace, just to bump that bad boy up.
Nice. Nice.
Fuck.
Not
luck.
good.
I rolled a 2, so that's a 7, but it's a 17. Hey.
Oh, nice.
I got an 8.
All right, we'll come back to that in a moment then. Now, making their way up on the other side of the catwalk, led by Tuvold. Now, Tuvold, are you sneaking?
Yeah, he's going to be trying to sneak as well. His idea
Right,
is he
well-
wants to get as close as possible to the closest cloaked figure, and he wants to sneak up behind, one hand on his mouth, and like try and bring him down onto the catwalk just quietly. So a grapple,
Right.
I guess, like a stealth grapple.
Okay, I want you to roll stealth for this then.
7.
7.
Total of 7.
Okay, you get close, but just as you're directly behind this acolyte, you step on. There's just a little bit of glass there, and there's a little crunch. The acolyte spins around and sees you just as you're like this, and so he's ready for you now.
Yeah.
We're gonna have an opposed athletics check.
Okay. That was a 1.
Oh,
That was a 1.
Okay. Well, he rolled a 14, so he grabs you.
Mm-hmm. In a really delicate way, I'm sure.
He grabs you so gently and throws you off the catwalk.
And, okay, Tuvold screams, "It was only one day until I was retired!"
Can I use a reaction?
Yes, you can.
I'm going to Thorn Whip him.
I'll feather fall him first. That might be better.
Okay, I want you to do both of these things. So here's what's going to happen. So first of all, you cast Featherfall, but it doesn't work. It's as if someone has countered the spell.
Oh no, magical.
And then
ears.
Thorn Whip. Why don't you roll for this Thorn Whip?
Okay, Thorn Whip. I rolled a 15 and it gets +6, so that is a dirty 20.
Yeah, so your whip wraps around Tuvold's ankle. He's swinging above this bubbling vat. But of course,
Gotcha!
this has drawn the attention of all of the acolytes. And so everyone's going to roll for initiative.
I also see if I can identify who counterspelled it.
Yes, how would you do that?
Well, I guess as being a wizard, if I could see someone do it using the verbals or semantics for the counterspell thing.
Okay, let's get to that in just a moment. So, has everyone rolled initiative?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, hit me with it.
7 for Tuvold.
21 for Galena.
10 for Timber.
Colombo got a very powerful 3 because he was trying to look for the other wizard.
And Fluffnutter's got an amazing 27.
Whoa.
I have a +11 to my initiative.
Damn.
I have the feat alert and I still got 10.
I also have alert.
Okay. All right. Then Fluffnutter, it's your turn to act.
Fluffnutter, holding one hand with the whip, he's gonna do the nay. No, he's not. He is gonna cast a 3rd level spell and summon a whole bunch of wolves. 8 of them, in fact. And he's just gonna go, "Don't worry, Captain! I found out who let the wolves out!" And they're gonna basically go straight for the 6 guys on the pier.
All right. Yes. Do they do their attacks now?
Yes, they do. They act on my initiative because they are conjured beasts. And so I'll do it. Do 2 on each of them, up to 4 of them. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so first one, they have pack tactics, so they have advantage on that. So the highest I rolled was an 11 plus, 4. So a 15. and the second one, an 18 plus 4, 22. So that's on one guy.
I'll tell you their AC is 15. So
Okay, so 2 of them hit. The first guy, a 16 and a 18. They
yes.
both hit, and last 2, a 19 is the highest, and a 17. And because I am a Fey, a shepherd, my attacks with summoned creatures count as magical, if that means anything. But they will do a total of, on the first guy, 8. The second guy, 7. Oh, I'm rolling great with these guys. And the third guy is, that's better. 12 total.
Okay. Yes, they all look quite badly wounded. So yeah, and they certainly staggered back, weighed down by these wolves.
And
Now,
that's my turn.
okay, Gorlina.
Jesus Christ, mate. Are we supposed to be sicking wolves on people? Okay, do they look like they're coming? I mean, we've just snuck up on them, right? But they haven't vibed us. I'm speaking aloud.
Because of all the chaos that happened up on the catwalks, they haven't noticed you down there.
Yeah, okay. I would say that at this, you mean they haven't noticed Galena and Timber?
Correct.
Yeah. Ooh. In that case, probably what Galena's going to do, she's not just going to get out her swords and start slicing them, because that's illegal still, I would say. So maybe she's going to hold her action of an attack until someone hurts one of her crew. Yeah. And keep an eye on what's happening. Yep.
Okay, so you're holding your action?
I am. I'm holding an attack action. Yep.
Okay. Next to act are the robed figures. They pull out from, the ones who are not currently fighting wolves are going to pull out from their robes crossbows. And they are, I just noticed someone in the chat said, it's really weird seeing Brendon DM people who have read their character sheets. It says quite a bit about my usual game, but it's exhilarating to see people knowing how things are done. Okay, so they are going to so they pull out these crossbows, and they're going to fire them at Fluffnutter.
Oh, my sweet bunny boy.
Fluffnutter.
What's your AC?
18.
18. Okay. So now 3 of them are engaged with wolves, yes?
4 of them. There were 8 wolves, 2 wolves per dude. That
okay.
Leaves 2.
You've got a +5 on your AC because of your City Watch vest.
Yeah, that's included.
Provided for you. Oh, okay.
Okay. So a crossbow bolt comes flying towards you, and you know that your protective vest creates a kind of like a bubble around you, and the bolt just pops right through it.
Nice.
Almost as if it wasn't there. And you are going to take a mighty 4 damage.
Oh, yeah, frickin' kidding me? This is what I get. Okay, I'm angry now. You would like to see a buddy angry.
You've been on the force for a long time. You might have even encountered these before. They're known as watch whackers.
Guys, they got watch whackers. So watch where you're whacking.
The second crossbow bolt flies wide of you, but it flies down and it slices through your Thorn Whip.
Oh no.
Sometimes you can't fight destiny.
Slow-mo. Slow-mo as Tuvold slowly gravity kicks in and he just like sinks further and further towards this vat of bubbling potions and stuff.
No.
Does he hit? Brendon, what happens?
Yes. So you splash into this bubbling liquid. And then for a moment, like you move slowly through it, like it's viscous. But then you sink beneath the surface. An outstretched hand. The last thing people see is a sizzling sound. Tuvold is gone. A bubble erupts out of the surface, and when it pops, you hear his final words.
It was almost time for retirement!
It hurts my soul.
Die? No.
I was only going to be in this for a little bit tonight, so I'm going to just sit back and watch the rest of it. I'm going to turn off my mic, turn off my cam, and let you guys enjoy and see if you can avenge your sergeant.
Up in at the end, though.
I'll be back at the end just to wrap up the night. But Fluffnutters, I do believe this hands the team over now that the Sarge is dead. To have a,
Oh no,
Drops
Sarge!
to his knees and
Have
he
you-
goes, "For twofold, we'll fucking do this." And just like
God.
tears are streaking down my furry little face.
That definitely triggered Galena's held action. So I don't think I'm close enough to I would have had to have decided which would be a arrow. Sorry, I'm rambling. I'll see.
I know it's an emotional time.
It's a very emotional time. I really was not expecting him to die, genuinely. Oh, that's an 11. It doesn't hit. It just no, Sarge.
Tears fill your eyes. You can't quite aim. Timber, it's your turn to act.
I think the only thing that makes sense right now is you'd hear Timber sort of as she just like can't hide back from her alternate form as such because it's too much. The pain is too real. And she just turns into this crazy looking sort of lycanthrope. So the chat got it already. Well done, chat. Yeah, but like still quite humanoid, but like claws and fur is deeper and all of like full on muzzle grows forward and her teeth definitely get really long. And she just like all fours kind of starts running at the nearest person that she can see to like just maul them. Yeah.
Oh, Timber, is this new to us? Have we seen this before? Or
I
is
don't
this-
think you would have because it's something that she really tries to meditate and control.
Yeah.
Like she joined the City Watch to try and keep herself in check, you know?
Right. So this
Yeah.
is really, we're all falling apart here.
Yeah. So like law and order is her thing. And law was just abandoned and order is gone. So
Yeah.
she's lost herself and just
Okay.
can't. Yeah. So I guess she's gonna try and run at whoever she can see with a 24 to hit.
Okay, so
What are your numbers?
the acolyte who just shot Fluffnutter is like pointing at the other one and like, we've got to deal with these wolves. We've got to deal with these wolves. These wolves are really dangerous.
Yeah.
And then the other one like taps him on the shoulder and he turns around and just sees you looming in front of him with a 24. You can play this. Describe what happens.
Nice. Okay, so I think she gets to him and one claw just straight across the chest, like going for blood, as much blood as she can pull. And the next claw just bat off the catwalk and towards the same vat, you know, like in that kind of general direction. Like, you will pay. Yeah. That's
Now
sort
his
of- I don't know.
tomb.
I don't know if he makes it into the vat, but that's just kind of her general, yeah.
Okay, so Yep, he goes flying into the vat after Tuvold, and again the same thing. He disappears into this liquid. A bubble comes up and pops, and you just hear, "Oh!"
These illustrations are great, by the way. These
I
are
know they're
awesome.
amazing. I'm
Yeah,
really
really
struggling not to watch them.
really enjoying myself.
So Andrew Kepple there doing the illustrations, incredible stuff.
Nice.
Yeah. And she's just like, she's got like eyes on the next guy, like in line. She's not moving towards him, but yeah, it's like coming.
Okay, so now it is Columbo. Now, Columbo, someone in the chat has told me that you can't tell where the counterspell came from.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Um,
chat has
but-
knowledge.
But I will say that if you see that if the same person casts a spell again, you'll know who it is.
Okay. If I can't see who it was, then I'm just gonna run towards the nearest one, and I'm gonna give the East Tower Second Squad battle cry of Nino, 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 and run in and try to hit someone with my axe.
All right, roll your attack. There's one. I think there's one left standing, who's not either in a vat or covered in wolves.
Also noticed on the chat that someone made some like comment about my rolls being really bad, so this one's for them. Oh, that wasn't too bad. It was an 11, which goes up to a 15.
15. So that's a hit. Roll your damage.
So this is the only one who's left alive. Is that right?
So there are 4 who are currently engaged with magical wolves.
Okay. Right. That was 10 damage on this one.
Okay. Yeah. So again, you strike a blow that would do Sarge proud. And the acolyte immediately throws up his hands. The other ones who are are also trying to throw up their hands, although there's like wolves like pulling on their arms. So Fluffnutter, what's your command to your wolves?
My command to my wolves will be I'm not actually going to command them. I'm just going to keep letting them do what they're doing, and I'm just pounding on the grate that I'm on, going, "God damn it, Sarge! It was meant to be 7 hours and 46 minutes. You couldn't hold on for 7 hours and 46 minutes." And yeah, I'm that's me.
All right. In that case, yeah, the wolves left to their own devices are going to maul these acolytes. Apart from the one that Columbo has at X point, we're going to skip forward an hour. You're still in the basement of the temple. But now there are other members of the watch who are like tagging bodies, carrying evidence out. And the chief of police, who is a big burly Goliath, is talking to you. Well, it's a sad day for the watch. Sad day indeed to lose such a long-serving member. But silver lining, all of the savories that we'd already defrosted for his retirement party, well, we can use them for the memorial service tonight.
He would have liked that. He was thrifty.
Yeah, well,
there's a
we're doing proud.
That's horrible. As she like reverts back out of her hybrid form.
Yeah, look, Timber, we'll talk about that later. You said savories. Are they should we get them going? I mean,
Well, it'll all be there tonight. The mayor's going to come and say a few words.
yeah.
You know, someone comes for someone in the City Watch. We don't let that go lightly, do we?
No, Captain.
Definitely.
Oh no.
No, Captain.
Oh,
We
he
go
should be
hard.
avenged, definitely.
I want you to get out there and find out who did this. Bring them to justice.
Oh, we'd do that for the Sarge, definitely. That's what he would have wanted. Well, probably what he would have wanted was not to fall into a big vat of chemicals that killed him on his last day. But, other than that, what he probably wanted would be for us to catch the person who did it.
And this
What
time
better
I'll do 'em
tribute?
proud.
Now, we're gonna take all of these. Looks like they were counterfeiting potions. We'll take these to the evidence lockup and run some analysis.
Don't feed them to mice; it kills them.
No, he's sleeping. I kind of lost the Sarge and Steven the same day. And I pull the mouse out of my pocket and I'm like, isn't that right, Steve? And I hold open its mouth and I'm like, yeah, great. See, he's fine.
There's a fly buzzing around it.
Oh.
Even I would.
So, have we got any clues who was behind this from the bodies and that, from doing our investigating?
Well, here's one thing that we noticed. All of the bodies, they've got a tattoo of a two-headed giant.
I got a
Oh.
tattoo of a two-legged mermaid.
What? That's just a lady.
No, it's a fish on top.
Oh, that's disturbing.
Have we heard of the two-headed giant before? Or
Are they
seen
called
this picture?
Clod? We had a potion of Clod giant, right?
Potion of Clod, yeah.
So, let's see. Do you want to make some history rolls to see if you know anything about this?
Yeah, love history. That's a nat 1.
Me too.
Oh, I got a 17.
Nice.
All right, Columbo, you start to in your mind, you start to like connect the red strings where you've always got that kind of like photos of like different suspects in your mind palace, and you remember that there's been a lot of talk over the last few years of someone new in the crime scene, a new crime boss, sometimes known as Mr. Two Heads or Etten.
Oh.
Got it. Excuse me while I crack another beer.
And do we know like where his hideout is, or we heard any rumors?
Somewhere in the docks.
Have we got like a, like a snitch, like a, like a person that we go talk to for our inside information?
Yeah, absolutely, you do.
Nice.
So you've got a few options here. We're going to go into a kind of a investigation montage, if you'd like. So
Yeah.
you can chase down leads, you can talk to informants, you can run analysis on things, anything that you'd like to follow up on. So we've got these potions, we've got the ingredients for these potions, we've got these acolytes who just seem to be, when you take their robes off, they're just burly thugs with this two-headed giant tattoo on their arm. There's also these special crossbow bolts that seem designed to kill City Watch members.
Mm. And were the two acolytes still tied up, or did Timber need to track them down with the hunters?
Oh no, they are still tied up. So they got
Okay.
collected by the rest of the City Watch when they arrived.
Cool.
So if you want to interrogate someone, you can.
Yeah, I totally want to interrogate someone just because she's always seen other people do it, and because Sarge isn't around anymore. Other Sarges, but she wants to give it a go. She wants to do that thing where you stand over them and be like, "Tell me what I want to know," and then like look at the two-way mirror and give it like a thumbs up, like, "Am I doing good?" Like that. Like she's playing good cop, bad cop herself.
And Galena's like, yeah, you're doing fucking good. You're doing so good.
Yep, that's what I want to do.
Okay. Andrew's done a lovely display of the different bits of evidence that we have here. So we've got our mysterious potions, we've got the tattoos, and we've got the watch whackers.
I'd like to follow up on the potions because, like, having been in the alchemists and that, I've probably got some contacts and, like, I could take them down the crime lab.
Great. Right. So as I said, we're gonna try and do a bit of a montage. So we can follow Columbo to the crime lab. We can see Timber doing an interrogation. Is there anything else, Buff Nutter and Lena? What do you want to do?
I guess see if there's something magical about the watch whackers. Is that what they were called? And also maybe take one or two or maybe like 10.
Sergeant Fluffnutter would like to head down to the docks and head up his contacts, the fish.
The fish, excellent. Okay, so Galena, you do find that there's a small stash of these crossbow bolts. You see there's like one of those wooden cases filled with straw that you open it up and they're laid out precisely like that. Now you know that these are banned in the city and they're very hard to get hold of. So
Seized.
someone must be bringing them in from outside.
Nice.
Okay, let's I want to meet the fish actually. So Afnella,
Yes.
you want to describe the fish and describe where you meet the fish.
So the fish are my informants that are down in the docks, and they're kind of silvery, very scaly. They have a couple of fins. They tend to hang around in groups around the piers. And yeah, I literally put my head underwater and start speaking to them.
Yes, you do.
All right. Yeah, a couple of them swim over to you.
Oi, boys! Over here. Just wanted to know if you've seen any blokes walking around with
I put my hand under the water to gesture one moment.
Okay, boys, just need to know if you've seen anyone around with, big tattoos, kind of double-headed guys on them. Oh, God, why do I do this to myself? It's for you, Sarge! Quick, answer quickly, boys, I don't have much time.
And of course, you always bring something for the fish as a kind of gift to show your goodwill. What do you bring?
I bring I bring the finest chum, which I put into the water prior to me talking to them.
Yeah, that's real pleasant.
Yeah, that's what you're choking on.
Oh, God. Okay, one more time, and I'm gonna get you to tell me quickly.
Year 12. Year 12. We see feet with tattoo splashing in the water.
Oh, God, Pier 12, feet tattoo. Oh, okay, I need more information.
Boat arrives. Boat arrives tonight. Midnight. As we fish say, high tide.
Yeah. And I do one last thing for my fishy contacts because they did such a good job. I take Steve out of my pocket and
Oh.
I'm like,
Oh.
Steve, if you're alive, now's the time. Steve. And I rip his head off and chuck him in.
Oh. Ugh.
In a
Enjoy it.
an almost reverential way, the fish rip the body to shreds.
Oh dear God, there's out of it.
Respectfully. Yeah, and one little bit of Steve bobs to the surface. His heart.
I use my police baton, my city watch baton, to just dunk it back under.
It takes a few goes. You know how it is. Keeps bobbing back up, but eventually,
I'll never let go, Steve. I'll never let go. And I walk back to HQ.
All right, let's go over to Columbo. Now, are you in the lab?
Yeah, I should go to the Alchemist Lab that we sort of subcontract from to do some investigating.
Okay, so you're doing. There's several different potions that you can see. Wanting to do kind of an analysis of them.
Yeah, see if they've got like a common component that they're using to make them.
Okay. Investigation.
Do I get a like advantage because I'm in the lab?
I think that's fair enough. Yeah. Using all of the resources around you.
Oh, so that was a 13 plus 5, so that's an 18.
Okay, so you managed to identify some of these potions. So first of all, you know that the so-called potion of Clod Giant Strength. This potion is always made with a sliver of like a nail from a giant. It's definitely not a cloud giant. In fact, it's a toenail from an etin, which is the two-headed giant.
Oh,
Toenails.
There's a lot of toenail vibes in this game.
is the toenail still in it?
There's just a little sliver of almost as if the etin had a hangnail and it got sliced off in a skillful way and plopped into the potion.
Okay.
But you know that etin potions are not, well, they're not stable.
Oh, okay, so
And
they're
you notice
making
that
dodgy potions.
Yeah, dodgy potions that, in fact, you think that what happened in the initial case is that it gave them when they drank the potion, it gave them the strength of a giant, but then their head tried to split in two to make them more like an etin, and that's how they died.
Okay. So that all ties in with the tattoos with the two heads. It's all the clues are coming together now.
Yeah, so you identify a few other potions. There's a potion of dexterity. There's a potion of fire breathing, but they are all in their way equally unstable.
Okay. I will make some notes in my notepad and then go and join up with the others.
Great. Okay, now let's go over to the interrogation. So, Timber, you want to describe where have you chosen for the interrogation and what's the approach that you've decided to take?
Yeah, so there is like an interrogation room. She knew that much. So she's in the right room. Like there is like the plain table and she's got them like handcuffed to the table and stuff like that. And everybody's in the double glass behind her. And and she's standing there very intimidatingly. She's not sitting because she learned that if you stand up, it's like better. Trying to make herself as big as possible. She's like, but she's doing it in that weird way where she's like, like it's looking just really awkward now. She's like trying to stretch out further along the table. She's like, tell me what I want to know. Who's your boss? That is what I'm supposed to be asking. Yeah, no, yeah, I'm committed to this. Like,
Okay, roll intimidation.
okay.
And you do get your +2 because you've got your badge on.
Okay. That was a terrible roll for a +5. That's rude. I get an 11 total.
Okay.
Can I like do my Sacred Oath channel divinity abjure enemy where they have to do a wisdom saving throw or they like get frightened of me to make it like more kind of powerful?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what?
She's like cheating by doing that, but she really wants to do this right, you know, like, yeah.
What's the DC for that?
13.
13. And what does it look like?
Yeah, so she is connected to her god, her wolf-like god. And so what happens is like her muzzle sort of grows spiritually and like a light kind of like shines out of it, making her like way more weirdly terrifying because it's like her face is there, but this weird like spiritual muzzle face is on top of
Oh
hers.
my god. Like in Beauty and the Beast at the end when he's like got the light all shining out of him and it's kind of
Yes.
scary for a little bit and then it's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, like that.
But it just never gets okay.
Yeah, she doesn't know that's what it looks like because she's never looked at herself when she casts it. So she just is always like, well, people are scared when I do this, so do it.
The light has that effect of a spotlight shining directly in his face, and he's completely terrified of you. I'll tell you anything. Just don't hurt me.
Why? Why are you making these potions? Why the tattoos? Why are they blowing up mice? I don't understand with the vats. I actually just don't understand. It like literally anything. God, please explain it to me.
I don't know anything about mice, but we need to sell the potions to make money so that we can buy weapons, so that we can equip the army, so that we can take over Waterdeep.
What? Who? Why are you taking over Waterdeep? Who is taking over Waterdeep? We're the city watch. We're in charge of Waterdeep.
And now, Mr. Two Heads is going to take over.
Mr. Two Heads.
Yeah.
And she
know what he always says?
What?
2 heads are better than 1.
Yeah, but 2 heads can be smashed together and then both of them are knocked out. That's what I'm going to do to him.
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I got a when I think about Mr. Two Heads, I get a certain surge of confidence, but it's gone again.
Yeah, and we're going to keep it that way. And like she struts out and there's this like spiritual tail, like wolf tail that she also doesn't know is there. When she casts the spell, she like walks out of the room, closes the door and then goes to, did I do good? I think I did good. Like he told us some stuff, right?
You did so good. You didn't do anything by the book and yet you got every single answer. And for that, I am so proud of you. Yeah!
Yeah!
Yeah, Timber, yeah!
And anyway, we should probably stop this 2 heads guy, right?
Oh, yeah, taking over the city. Yeah, of course.
Oh, yeah, that's probably bad. Yeah.
Yeah, but you have my support. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Where's everybody else?
All right. Well, actually, I think you get summoned by Fluffnutter's Horn of Backup. And you're summoned to Pier 12.
Nice.
Sounds like a fancy restaurant.
I know it does, though. One that serves crab with too many forks and knives and you can't figure out which ones you're supposed to use. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or possibly a slightly dodgy nightclub.
Yeah. That too. So we get there and we're swapping stories. There's some conversations about talking to some fish and...
Yeah. What do you got for me?
Well, I think the potions, like, they're not being made properly. But I did find a bit of an Etton's toe in one, which would like link in with the two heads on the tattoos and that.
Now we're heading somewhere. Okay, what did you two discover?
You could say we're two heading somewhere.
I just love the chat's response to every pun I make.
I think Timber would go, "Oh, they're selling potions so that they can like weaponize the army of the guy who's in charge of the two heads, so that they can take over the entire of Waterdeep." So
Right. Okay.
seems bad.
I spoke to my friends who sleep with the fishes down here, the fish. And basically they said 12 o'clock tonight, high tide, there's gonna be a boat or something, a delivery perhaps. So
Maybe
stake
it's
out.
I'm gonna retcon that ever so slightly just for timing. So high tide, let's say, is at 8 p.m. and that's when it's all going to go down.
But it's actually 8 p.m. because fish are dumb as fuck.
That is true. I do eat them easily.
Yeah, we also lost Steve.
No, we knew
Oh,
that
it's been a
already.
bad day, the Sarge and Steve.
I know.
I
So
remember this day for a while.
I mean, personally, it was a waste. I could have eaten it when he died. Anyway,
Steve.
Yeah,
what's the
So
what's
let's
the plan,
go.
Sarge?
Are we gonna do this guns blazing Rambo style, or are we gonna, do it by the book? And by the book, I mean, are we gonna book them?
I think we throw the book at them, right?
Opening
Yeah.
gambit, love it.
Smack him with the book. Yeah.
Sarge
Right,
would have liked us to do something with the book.
Okay, well, I'll get the book, and he pulls out the book. It's literally just a book with book written on it. And he's like, so as youngest and newest recruit, I'd like you to be the one to throw the book at them, and I pass it to Timber.
And Timber takes it like with reverence and is like, "This is the greatest honor ever." And just like places it to her chest. Yeah. Like,
It's what Sarge would have wanted. So should we go get these guys? These freaking guys. They fucking took Sarge from us. Let's go take their Sarge. Did we find out who their Sarge is?
The one with the two heads.
Yeah, we
With the
did.
two
Let's
heads.
get him.
Let's
She's now
smash them
making-
together.
Yeah, making this gesture.
You guys look like you're trying to fly, but you're not taking off. And I am going to expend one of my wild shapes to summon my hawk familiar. And his name is Birdie. He is a hawk, and I'm familiar with him. And I will send him off into the air, and I'm like, okay, Birdie's gonna do some scouting, so we'll know what we're coming up against. So bye-bye, Birdie, let's go.
Sorry. I didn't see
Birdie,
it
Birdie flies up over Pier 13, and you can see there's a boat coming in to dock. There are some burly-looking figures coming out of a warehouse, ready to unload from the ship. If Birdie's eyesight is very good, they might
It
notice
is.
some of these tattoos on different parts of their body. You also see one of them, while he's waiting for the boat to arrive, is his feet kind of dangling over the side of the pier, splashing them in the water. Not a care in the world. There's a tattoo on his foot.
Right. These looks like they're getting a shipment. Shall we go check it out? I don't know why I'm talking like this now. It's the power. It's the positioning.
Yeah,
think
I
we
mean,
want-
we should.
Do we want to go and see them, or do we want to sneak into that warehouse where they came from and see if we can find the boss?
Yeah, I definitely get the feeling that they're just working for him. I mean, I feel like they might be gainfully employed elsewhere if we got rid of him. So we could bypass them and then just.
I mean, technically, I could tell you if I get close enough if they're evil.
Yeah, nice.
You just judge people like that?
Mm-hmm.
Excellent police work.
Are
I
you?
can.
Yeah, do that. Absolutely do that.
Okay. Shall I just go over there and start a conversation with, "Hey, how's your night going?" And
Are
Are
you
you you're in uniform and you're going to go and walk over to these underworld figures?
yeah,
I
I'm
think
gonna.
if we learn anything from the temple, it's probably not best to like go in like that. We're
Yeah,
either going to
Timber
go in
starts.
like axes blazing, or we're going to sneak into the warehouse.
Okay.
Timber
I
starts
can.
walking, and Galena just grabs Timber by the neck, like the back of the collar, just like
The
nah.
scruff.
Yeah, the scruff. Just like Timber's like, I'm just gonna. It's like nah, yeah, nah, not in this
Oh,
case. But yeah,
sneak.
lovely thought. Yeah,
Sneak. Okay.
yeah.
How many
Right.
people on the pier are there? Sorry, I missed that. How many people are there?
Did he freeze?
Yep.
He
Either that
froze.
or he's a statue.
I thought he was just
thought-
thinking about how many people there were on the pier. He was like,
I thought I'd missed it somehow.
Yeah. No, I think froze. Yeah.
So, what do
did he
we think,
stay? I think
Sarge?
he-
Do you think we should go
Weird.
into the pier or the warehouse? What do you reckon?
Well, we could divide and conquer. If we go into the warehouse, then the shipment could escape, and we lose all of that.
That's true.
That's a
However,
good
if
point.
we
That's why you
burn
have a
the
Sarge.
shipment as we enter, then win-win.
Is that he's
So-
sitting on the end of the pier, dangling his feet in the water? Like, is the water very deep here, Sarge? I've got pretty good strength. I could just like pummel into him from the backhand and just toss him into the water.
Well, I mean,
So-
yeah, we could. It keeps a ship in there. Oh, he's back. The god is
Yeah,
back.
I was here the whole time. Just
Yeah. Yeah.
we've settled on a plan.
Well, there's a few options. I could try and sneak up and then toss him off into the water.
Why don't we sneak and grab him and ask him where his boss is? The best
What?
of both worlds.
What's the plan? Sorry, love. Maybe one more time. You're gonna toss him off into the water.
Yes, Galena, I'm going to toss him off into the water. I'm an innocent.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Can someone clip that?
Do you want to grab one? One.
Let's just go fuck up the people on the pier. That's my
Yeah,
plan.
I think we do.
Yeah.
What do you
Yeah,
say,
all
for
Sarge?
one. All for one for all, and all for Sarge.
Besides,
Yeah. And maybe
It's
keep
just-
one alive so we can get him to take us to the boss.
One alive. And that's the last call she says as she's like running.
One alive.
One alive. Is that fairly intimidating as she's running around and looking at these people going, one of you's gonna live.
And they're just doing like rock, paper, scissors. Like.
So they are taken by surprise. Again, they're unloading these boxes from the boat. So one of them, they drop the boxes and some crossbow bolts spill out. You charge in, roll initiative.
Okay.
22 total for me.
Oh, I
Timber-
missed all of that. I don't know what happened there. I haven't got any sound coming through from the DM.
Really?
Will we rolling initiative, I take
We're
it?
rolling
Initiative, please.
Yeah.
Oh,
Timber got a
okay.
15.
17 for me.
Galena only got a 9.
It's okay. It's not the number. It's what you do with it.
9's not bad.
I mean,
what
to
was
be
yours,
fair.
Timber?
15.
15. So sounds like it's Colombo, Golina.
I don't know if it's just me, but I can't hear Brendon at all.
Have you?
I can hear him.
Yeah, I can hear him. Is he muted on your Discord?
He wasn't.
No.
So a little insider thing. I accidentally unplugged my laptop and then it ran out of power. That's what happened.
There's your problem.
You might have to refresh. See if you grab him again.
And let's pretend I don't know what I'm doing. How do I do that?
Or we can interpret for you, just to save you from doing
This would
that.
be exciting.
Can you?
I'll do
can
it
you
by dance.
You can totally trust us to tell you exactly what the DM is saying. I'm sure we
just
wouldn't
saying.
lie.
Can you use the medium of dance? That would be great.
Yeah, excellent. Who's up first?
So it's Fluff up first.
Fluff up first.
So what he said here is, I'm up first, and I don't even get to roll. I just murdered them all. No, they didn't. I will do what Fluffernutt does best, and release the hounds.
Nice.
Yes.
So I will summon 8 hounds again, 8 wolfies, and they will. How many guys on the pier are there?
So on the boat and on the pier there are 10.
Oh, 10. Ooh, I will go all 8 on 1.
Oh, wow.
And if you want to go to the next person, well, I just roll that up because it's a lot.
Absolutely. Just checking in. I think someone in the chat saying they can't hear me either.
I can hear you now. I just refreshed the window and it all seemed to work again.
Okay,
I'm a
so
technical
refreshing seems to
genius.
work. Right. Umbo,
They
are
can hear
you?
you. They're being cheeky.
A sweet, vulnerable dungeon master. How could you prey upon him like this?
So mean.
I think it's you next, Columbo.
Okay. I'm just going to run in and try and hit the nearest one.
For it.
So that'll be a 18 to hit.
Hit.
And 4 damage.
Respectable.
So I'll just start mixing it with him. Whoever the nearest one to me was.
Yeah, you're toe to toe with this one.
So as she's running forward, she's licking her sword. It's kind of gross, but she is.
Oh.
It's because she has this thing where she can do as a bonus action Crimson Right to imbue her weapons with extra damage, and how she does that is just to kind of lick one of them up and down a little bit, and it does the extra damage now. So she has 2 weapon fighting, so she's gonna basically go for one of them that isn't being fought and just try and slice twice. And she gets a 18 for one and a 21 for the other.
Hit.
Cool. Okay, so that one is a 10, and then that one is a 10 plus a d4 of cold as well. So they get a little chili. Little chili. They get 3 more chili, so 13 total.
Okay, yeah. Oh, burr.
Burr. It's cold in here. It must be some timber in the atmosphere.
Quick question.
Yes.
Their AC is 15, eh?
Yes.
Okay. Cool. 52 damage?
52 damage.
Yep.
On one.
On
You
one.
froze him. He was so shocked. He was
Okay, yes. Just describe what it looks like when you completely obliterate this this goon.
So, all of the my hounds, by the way, look like Chase from Paw Patrol. And they all zero in on I'll say the closest guy, and each grab a limb. Then one grabs like an ear, another grabs his gut, another grabs his butt, another grabs his like nip, and an extra one on the toe. Why not? And they just pull him asunder. And Fluffnutter just wipes a tear away and goes, "Visage."
There's nothing left. Okay. And
Plumbo say, well, he certainly has the right to remain silent.
You put glasses on.
Oh no, I've already got my inspiration.
Oh, by the way, big thank you to Blackwater D&D for joining us here. I thought we suddenly saw a coffin there.
awkward.
Linda. Galena.
Galena, yeah, right. So Galena doesn't want to fuck it up this time, but definitely might still fuck it up. Is going to take her two short swords out and walk towards one, and then just go like slice. Yeah, can I do
it.
that? Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
So that's a Sophia, her 18 to hit.
It's a hit.
That hits. Yes.
Hits. Yeah.
Nice. So that's 3 damage on the first slice. And then another slice. Jesus, that's good. That's 23. So that hits. So that's 8 damage on the second slice. And she has an extra attack, so she's going to do it again. Okay. Fucking hell, that's a 16, guys. So that hits. That's I've never rolled so well in my entire life. That's a 17. Okay. All right. That's 5. And the second one's a 6. So that's 11 on the second. Yeah. And because she's a dread ambusher, she can take another additional weapon attack.
Nice.
I'm just gonna do it again.
Go again.
Fucking hell, this is insane. I'm gonna have to take pictures of this. So that's an 18 on the die. Damn. So that is 2 plus a 1d4 for the dread ambusher feat, which is another 6. Does that person die?
Yes. No. I mean, do you want to describe what that looks like?
Yeah, absolutely. So Galena is just zeroes in, and like her tail goes up really high and like kind of pointed, so it's almost like she elongates and just pulling out these 2 swords, and it's just like a beautiful infinity sign as she just kind of like that, slice and dice.
I love that somebody in chat just called you a velociraptor. It's my favorite.
Oh, that's so cute. Angry velociraptor with shorts on. Yeah.
Yes.
And that's my turn.
Okay. Everyone else gives up.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they do.
They look around. They see the remains of what once was one of their companions and is now just bloody wolves. They see one of their companions that looks more like a Jenga tower now. The rest of them have been fixed in all manner of things. So they just put their hands up. Surrender.
Take us to your leader.
And you all saw it. They had a knife, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They are armed, yes.
Yeah, it was unfortunate how he ran into my knives. Is that what you're saying?
And that pack of wolves that came from nowhere.
Yeah,
I mean,
bloody unfortunate.
yeah.
We've really got to get.
I've
Oh,
got the bag of spare evidence if we need it, Sergeant. So we can just add some if you need it. Just shout. Sort
Yeah,
you out
Right,
for that.
before
definitely
things get
sprinkle
too
it round.
dark.
Scatter some of those potions around, yeah.
Yeah, lawful good.
You go into the warehouse, and yeah, you see there are crates and crates of weapons. Some that have been brought in on this boat, some that were already there. And there's like training equipment. Like those like training dummies that you practice stabbing, archery targets,
It's about
those
drive,
kinds
it's
of
about
things.
power. We stay hungry, we devour. Yeah.
oh, we're eating these guys? Okay, let's go.
There's a further back room. In this back room, you see, chained to the wall, giant. Both his enormous hands, chained up, chains on his ankles, 2 heads. This, despite being a giant, you can tell that this giant is in really bad shape, kind of underfed, very weak.
Uh-oh.
I'll also say, there's other things. There's a desk with some papers on it. There's cages along another wall.
So he wasn't the big bad then.
And this does not get through to Timber initially because Timber is on a mission. And she walks up to this chained 2-headed giant creature and just goes, "We're not gonna arrest you. We're gonna throw the book at you," and just like throws the book.
The heads cower away, and one says, "Don't hurt me," and the other one says, "Don't hurt me either. Hurt him instead."
Guys, we're gonna hurt both of you.
Ooh, do we have to ask you which is the right door to go through or something? She's like, I've heard about this.
I think maybe they're doing the dirty on the big giant boy. I mean, he's all tied up. Maybe he's not the person we thought he was.
And she picks back up. the
Just
book and
come
she's
and they take our nails.
yeah. She picks
Oh,
up the book and
that's disgusting.
she's like, I'm pretty sure we
Who
threw the
takes
book
your
at the
nails?
wrong person. Yeah.
Who does it? Who does this to you?
Nail fraud is a crime.
They do. Come and I think they put them in potions.
Oh, they definitely do. Did you know that the potions like make mice die?
Oh, I feel even worse.
Would you like to not be handcuffed to a wall?
Yes, please. At least release me and me.
Well, I
Release
feel
both
like-
of us, or me.
Okay.
So, if you're chained to the wall, why have they got tattoos of you? That doesn't make much sense, does it? That's just one thing that's troubling me.
Can I roll an insight check on these puppies just to see
Absolutely.
if they're on the level?
Idea.
I actually got 17, not bad.
So they are on the level. They are suffering. They seem to be. They initially, some time ago got hired as muscle, but then they were lured in here, chained up, and they've just been used for their nails.
So if you're not the 2-headed guy that's taking over the city with the weaponry and stuff, who's in charge? Because I believe you. I'm your friend. I'm going to get the handcuffs off you. So if you tell me who the boss is, then, we can get out of here together.
No one's ever seen him, but he's very powerful. He has influence all through the city, even the City Watch.
horror.
Oh no, it wouldn't be the City Watch. We're all good. We're all good people. We don't do that sort of thing.
No, we throw the book at the bad ones, and she's picked back up the book and just
Yeah,
chasing it
pick that
around.
up 'cause you might need to throw it again when the big bee bag turns up in a minute.
And she
So
starts looking for a key while they're talking to him.
I think you found one and you've unchained it. As you look around, I'll tell you the other thing. So in these cages, there are these enormous like lobster creatures, which you might recognize as Chul. They're big, like 7-foot tall lobster creatures, but then they have like tentacles coming out of their mouths that like sting you, kind of like a jellyfish.
For some reason, I thought you said chill, like the fabric, and I was like, not scared of fabric. But that's better. Yep.
did anyone bring any lemon and Thousand Island dressing? Because they'd cook up lovely. They would, wouldn't they?
They're all dead.
They're all dead.
All dead. Their fluids
anybody-
seem to have been drained.
Anybody know what you
Oh.
use that for? Oh, maybe. Yeah. Has anybody got good
Nature roll?
nature?
Yep. That is a nat 20 plus 4.
Paralysis. The tentacles can cause paralysis.
Well,
So you think
the tentacle parts of them, they can cause you to freeze up and not be able to move, kind of like what I thought happened to Steve, but, turns out he was dead. They give you non-dead deadness.
Maybe they were going to put it on the watchwhackers and make extra special watchwhackers.
I think Timber's ears start twitching to be like, is anything around then? Are we being surrounded? Are we the only ones here? I don't want to be paralyzed.
I'm just paralyzed by my emotional fear of connecting with someone. But apart from that, physical paralysis would be horrible.
Yeah, she's on hyper alert right now. Is really paying attention to everything around her.
Are there any other cages apart from the ones that these big lobster people are in?
there might be some other smaller creatures that have been used for ingredients in different potions, but this seems to be the main one. You also see there's a desk, there's some papers, there's like posters stuck up on the wall.
Can I investigate that to see if there's any clues to see who Mr. Big is?
So here are the things that you notice. On the wall is a big floor plan of calls of justice. It is, of course, where City Watch operates out of. Certain areas are circled on it. Evidence chamber and the main meeting hall.
Not the interrogation room.
The interrogation room.
Okay, so they don't know that we're investigating this yet.
Oh, have we asked the big giant its name? What's your name?
Hergle and Gurgle.
Right. Have you ever seen anyone from the City Watch come in here? Apart from us, obviously, at this moment.
Once.
Only once? Well,
Who
who
was
was
it?
it? Don't leave us hanging in suspense. God damn it! Why do they always do that? Raging.
The memory was so horrifying of that moment that both gone blank.
From the paperwork, do we get the impression that they're planning an attack on City Hall?
Roll in an investigation to see if you can put the pieces together.
Oh, that was quite good. That was an 18 plus 5. That's a 23.
Nice.
I'm puzzling it all out.
You notice a few little clues here and there. One of them seems to reference like a memorial service ?
And
Oh no.
And the seized goods, right? Like we seize goods. They've circled the evidence locker. If we've seized a bunch of bad potions and given it to evidence, like, are these going to go on the savories? Not the savories! How dare they?
So they're going to attack City Hall during Sarge's memorial. Maybe
We
they
need to
set
get
him
back
up.
there then.
Maybe
What
they
time's
set
the
him up.
memorial?
Oh, the watch is going to grow 2 heads and die. We've got to save the watch.
Got to get back there.
Okay, guys, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna grab some of these weapons. Yo, Eden, do you know how to handle one of these? Hurgle gurgle.
And I
Yeah.
You know how to handle one? Here, take this.
and I throw one of the random assortments of weapons around.
Here's what we're gonna do. We are not gonna let them ruin Sarge's memorial.
We can't let them eat the savories. I could totally do a cheese board instead. I'm really good at cheese boards. You know, and like the meat platters that go along the pickle. Okay, I realize this isn't
Antipesto.
the time. This isn't
Yeah.
the time.
Tutory. Yeah, I know.
Yes, that's the word I was looking for. It's like you're in my brain.
We need to get back to the memorial service before it all kicks off. That's what I reckon.
Okay. The 4 of you jump onto a wagon, and Hurgle Gurgle just like pushes it down the streets as you use the Squad 2 battle cry to warn people to get out of the way. As you rush.
Nino. We have to say it.
I've got the light cantrip, so I'm going to keep like casting it and then killing it and casting it and killing it, so it flashes on and off.
Everyone rushes out of the way, giving you a clear path all the way to the halls of justice. You rush inside, rush up the steps to the meeting room where the memorial for your beloved sergeant scheduled to be taking place. Take a moment to take in the room. Yes, there are City Watch members all around. There's a lectern at the front. The chief is standing behind the lectern holding a glass up as if it just made a toast. There's a row of dignitaries sitting behind him, including, you see, the mayor. There's a large portrait of what was the sergeant's name? It's so dark in this room now, I can't read it. Hang on, I'm just going to turn the light on.
I do like the eerie vibe of it, though. It is like
Twofold
telling
Forward.
scary stories.
Yeah.
Okay, there's an enormous portrait of Tuvold in uniform. There's flower arrangements all around, and then there's an empty coffin in the middle of the room. A couple of things that you notice that is a little odd. No one is moving. Like everyone is completely frozen in place.
We did poison the savories.
We're too late.
And second of all, Tuvold is standing in front of the empty coffin.
I've always admired
Sarge.
the Etten. The dual personality, one head always needing to be awake, watching. Brutal, efficient, they do whatever it takes. Like the Etten, I have led 2 lives. The dutiful officer of the law and the underworld crime boss. But I'm not so different, me and I. All I want to do is bring order. That is why I must destroy the City Watch, take control of the city, and remake it better than before. I had to fake my death so that every officer in the Watch and the mayor would be in one place at one time. and I needed to get all those casks transported to the evidence lockup so that I could release this paralyzing gas into the air. You can join me, my squad, or you can join them. I don't want to kill you, but if you stand in my way, I will. And he just pulls a gas mask down over his face.
Yeah, and I think this is the moment where Timber just solemnly walks up and just not throws the book, but just kind of flicks it against his chest. You know, and is just like, I thought you were better than that. I looked up to you. This is not the way.
You can still look up to me, Timber. Join me.
No, we trusted you, Sergeant. We looked up to you like you said, and like we followed you to do the right thing. Well, this isn't the right thing.
One thing you do notice about the Sarge is he doesn't have his sword with him at this point. But as you guys are standing there talking about not wanting to join him, you notice for the first time magical flickering at his fingertips.
I'm like, don't do it. Don't do it, Sarge.
Sarge.
Don't do it.
Sarge, you
Please
wouldn't.
Don't do it.
You wouldn't. Not to us. Not to your buddies. You wouldn't.
Please
No.
don't do this.
I've known you for a long time, Sarge. Yeah, you're like a brother to me.
As I'm walking closer to him and I say, I'm looking deep into his eyes, my eyes are welling up. And I'm like,
You remember that first day on the job when I was a rookie? I was just a bright-eyed bunny, whole future ahead of me, and you took me under your wing. What was the first thing I said to you? We were discussing movies, and I said I fucking hate sequels.
and I cast Whole Person. So choose a humanoid. You can see within range. The range is 60 feet, but I'm pretty close. And you must succeed on a wisdom saving throw.
What is the level that you're casting that?
3.
Oh, no.
Oh, no, 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 no.
He's going to counterspell.
Oh.
Or
You recognise that. That just has exactly the same flavour as that last counterspell you experienced.
can I counterspell his counterspell?
Oh. Rules.
The rules say you can.
Yeah.
He counterspelled his own featherfall. Sorry if everyone figured that out way before me. Oh. Wow.
What level did he cast his counterspell at?
3rd level.
So I've automatically counterspelled it then, I believe.
So it's a standoff, right? That's nothing happens, is that right?
No.
My spell goes through.
Yeah.
If,
So the whole person goes ahead.
Nice.
Let's go with that. At that moment, so Vold is frozen in place.
He can still speak while held, right?
Mm-hmm.
he's paralyzed.
Through gritted
The irony.
through gritted
Sorry,
teeth.
I was just
He shouts
laughing
out,
at
"Release the gas!"
The room starts to fill with gas. This gas made from the paralyzing poison of the Chul. So you need to make Constitution saving throws. Wouldn't it be amazing if just everyone was frozen in place forever?
And this
Con
is
save, you save.
Save. The DC is 13.
Oh,
Nope,
I better have a
that's
high
2 on the
con.
dice. So that's a 5 for Galena.
I'm going to use my inspiration now on this one, I think, because it's quite important.
Crushed it. I got a 21, by the way. Crushed it. Got my first 19 on the dice.
Did you say it's 14?
I said it was 13.
Okay, then I pass.
Yeah, I got 19.
Okay, so only Galena is paralyzed. Perfect. There's another thing that you'll notice is that some goons with Eton tattoos standing behind the dignitaries up on the stage, pointing crossbows at their frozen bodies.
Are they wearing masks too?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
I think it's time to roll for initiative.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I want to hit some things. Oof. That'll be an 18 for Timber.
Columbo got 16.
Tuval got
24.
15.
What was that, Columbo?
I think it was 16. I've forgotten now.
Okay. Fluffer,
Flapper got 24.
4. And Timber, what did you get?
18.
18. Lena?
17, but you know.
Okay. There must be a way. Right. Bluff, it's your turn. It's your chance to act.
Okay. So for my action, I will touch Galena and go, kid, you gotta move, and cast Lesser Restoration on her. So she is no longer paralyzed. And
Thank you.
then for my bonus action, I am going to do a thing that shepherd druids can do, which is to lay down an area, a 60-foot radius for 1 minute, and we all gain +5 temporary hit points and
Nice.
have advantage on strength saves and checks.
Okay. Cool.
And
Nice.
yeah, that's all I can do. That's me.
That's a good turn.
Right. Timber, I think you're next.
Okay, so here's the thing, DM. I want to try and pull off his mask. Seeing as he's being held, I want to try and like rip off the mask and then cast a thing which would give him disadvantage on Constitution saving throws. In other words, trying to get him to be paralyzed by his own gas. Like, kind of that's where I'm going with that.
Okay, you want to
So-
rip off Tuvold's mask. Yep.
Yes. Yeah. So you tell me about how that would work.
We'll start by doing an athletics check. The DC isn't high.
Okay, cool. I have a 14.
Yes, you rip off the mask.
Okay, cool. And then, yeah, so I have this thing which is my blood curse. I basically have to lose some points myself to do this. Oh, 1. That's nice. And then I can amplify it by losing some more, which is another one. I think I'm doing this right. Someone's going to correct me in the chat, but if I kill myself with too many hit points I'm taking, well, I'm okay with that. And then essentially the cursed creature has disadvantage on all Constitution saving throws.
Nice.
Yeah. Until the end of my next turn. So, not long.
Okay.
I think it's mostly about spells, but I'm kind of hoping that this gassy thing is kind of spelly, so I'm asking for a favor sort of here, Stretch, you know?
Okay. So yes, that happens. Tuvold is now surrounded by this gas. And Columbo, it's your turn to act.
So the people on the stage, they're threatening some of the civic dignitaries with crossbows. Is that right?
That's right.
I want to stand next to the Sarge, and I just have my hand up there with like a glowing firebolt just held next to his head, and I want to shout, drop your weapons or the Sarge gets it.
Meaning 2 volt.
Yeah. So
One of them's going to shout back, you drop it, and, or we'll kill them there.
yeah, I never really liked the bear that much, to be honest. But I did like the Sarge, so it'd be a shame if I had to blow his head off.
I can still be Sarge Colombo. Join me. It's not too late.
Oh, you can't. I would like to, like with my other hand, rip off some of his medals, because he must have had medals on for his in his coffin, and shove them into his mouth so he can't speak.
Ooh.
Okay.
And that's
Brutal.
I'm not really going to blow his head off, but I want to see if I can stop them killing the dignitaries.
Then I think we need an intimidation roll to see if you can convince them of your seriousness.
Oh, not my strong point today. Oh, that was a 14.
No, I'm sure it goes really well. Oh, he's back.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
Haven't said anything.
I got a
dwelling on this
14.
for a moment. 14, yes. So I don't think that they will believe you unless you do something to show how serious you are.
All right, I will firebolt the Sarge, but not in his head, just like maybe on his foot.
Right on his toe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do it.
Okay. Do I get advantage because he's held? Oh, does he lose the whole person though if I attack him? Doesn't he? Too late. Oh, that was a 1. Oh, the other one was a 20, not natural though.
Okay, so you hit him.
That's 7 points of fire damage.
Okay, so 2 volt, your foot is engulfed in flames, and you leap back almost involuntarily from the flames, realizing that you are released from hold person. Take a triumphant breath of air through your unmasked mouth. And now you need to make a Constitution saving throw with disadvantage.
Okay, that is a 9. A 9.
Oh, after that brief movement, you are once again frozen.
I didn't want to do this, Sarge.
Lena, it's your turn to act, and you can act.
I can, which is amazing. Oh God, yeah, I should have been thinking about this. What am I gonna do? I'm so angry with the Sarge for betraying me. To be perfectly honest, Galena's just gonna try to slice him, basically again. Yeah.
Okay, you've got advantage on the attack because he's mobile.
Okay. Oh,
Pretty
well,
much at your mercy.
that's a 14. Even with advantage, that probably doesn't hit.
It does.
What's your AC?
It does hit.
Oh, nice. So that's 3 damage. How you like them apples?
Okay, I'm tracking damage.
I don't like those apples.
And then there's the offhand weapon. Fuck. Is that still at advantage? Because he's paralyzed? Okay, 19. Because otherwise it would have been natty 1. 6. And then I got my extra attack. Which is 23. Which is 8. Then the offhand is 15.
That's a hit.
Which is 3. And then my feet, which is which is a natty 20! Yeah, boy! Sorry, I got excited. That's 5, which is 10. And then my 1d8 is 7, which is 14. So that last one was 24.
24 damage.
Yeah. Well, doubled if it was a crit.
You just slice into your friend, your mentor, your leader.
Yep.
Blood sprays towards you. He's still completely immobile as you just slice ribbons of blood into him. Blood sprays out onto the portrait of Tuvold.
I trusted you. And that's my turn.
Tuvold, it is your turn to act.
Is there a chance to break this
Yes,
frozen
you
grip,
can
or-
try and break out of this.
Okay.
Yeah.
We've rolled a 15.
15 will do it.
Nice.
What about my whole person as well?
No, that's gone.
That's gone. They got
That got
Why-
broken.
I killed that because I attacked him. I didn't think
Damage
it through.
doesn't
Sorry
break
about
it?
that.
No, damage doesn't break it.
Did it not? I thought it
No,
did.
it's concentration. Literally,
Oh,
it just says at the target is paralyzed for the duration. At the end of its turns, the target can make another Wisdom saving throw. On a success, the spell ends. There's nothing about if I take damage and my concentration breaks, then yeah, it ends. But
My bad. Sorry.
right.
What's the DC for the?
it is a Wisdom save at DC 14.
I rolled a 15. Plus, I got a +4 for wisdom saving throw, so that would be a 19 if we were going for
Okay.
that.
Okay.
In the interest of keeping these moving, so let's go with that. So Tuvold, you blood is pouring through your dress uniform. You are able to move again.
Okay, and that was my action to basically break free of that, wasn't it? He's going to slowly back away. Whereabouts is the gas mask? It just got tossed off. We said it again. Thrown down at his feet. Is that where it was, Timber?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The book.
I know, because you took off the gas mask, right?
Oh yeah, I'm probably still holding it in my other hand, so I have the book in one hand against your chest, kind of, and the gas mask in the other.
Okay. He's just going to try and grab at it and move back, backing away from them, so staggering a little bit. I chose all of you because of how useless you were. You were chosen so I could take over, and here you are, double-crossing me at the last minute. Each and every one of you chosen to fail.
And Timber's whimpering almost.
Oh, that's a bit harsh, Arch. I thought we
Well-
did quite well.
Sarge, we did fail. We failed to fail.
That's pretty good. That was
That's
pretty
pretty good.
So did I manage to snatch that out of Timber's...
I think honestly Timber's out of it, so it probably wouldn't even be terribly hard to get it off
All right.
her.
He's placing it on, and he's shaking with the amount of blood and adrenaline pumping at the moment. And he's just going to spend his turn backing away and pointing at all of his crossbow-yielding compatriots. Fire on them now!
They're going to fire. So
no.
they have their watchwhackers. So they are going to fire one at each of you. So starting with Columbo, that's a miss. Galena, oh, that's a miss. Oh no.
He's only good at choosing people who fail, huh? Great.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a real indictment of his leadership. So, what's your AC?
Who sorry?
What?
What's your AC?
It is 18.
18. Okay. Bypassing again your protective barrier, you are going to take 7 damage as a crossbow bolt slams into your shoulder.
The pain.
At that moment, someone that we've forgotten about is going to burst through the back wall. The Etin that you freed is just gonna plow through the wall.
You!
You. And gonna pick up 2 of the your crossbowmen and slam them together.
Nice. Hey, look, we're back to this again.
Yes.
I think just before we enter this next round, I sensed that there was a moment there when you said that we failed to fail. I think that there was just a crack of emotion in Tuvold. So
Oh.
I want to just see if you can open that crack a little wider. Did that make sense? that crack of emotion.
Feel
Yeah.
that heart. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, I sliced him.
Yeah, a lot of blood coming out.
There's a lot of blood
I think
coming
that slicing has brought a little bit of humility to Mr. Two Heads. So if you have anything you think reach Tuvold at this moment, now's the time, any of you.
You know what? So, Fluffer looks at Tuvold, and he just drops his police baton, his little city watch baton, and he says,
You know, when I said we failed to fail, what I really meant is you really know how to pick 'em. You really fucked up. That's why you're our Sarge. You failed so hard. You failed like a champion. Like, if you could have picked a worse team to fail at failing, you wouldn't have been able to do it because you fucking succeeded in that, champ.
and I'm gonna try and make an intimidation check.
Maybe I think this is going to be more persuasion.
Persuasion? Okay. That would be the same. A 15.
15. How does that affect you, Tuvold?
Yeah, Tuvold is finally the sort of the crackling of sparks around his hands has dissipated a little bit, and he's trying to catch his breath. You can hear his ragged breath from underneath the gas mask, and you can just see him slowly just taking in the entire room, looking at everybody. He's seeing Timber with the book in her hand, like it looks like she's maybe had a tear rolling down her face after being told she was useless. Galena still with like his blood like dripping down her blades, and Columbo standing next to this enormous injured two-headed Etin, sorry. And he just slowly takes it all in, and he drops down to his knees. And he starts like motioning. He's like, "Get them all out of here. Squad, get them all out of here." And he just sort of like slumps down onto his hands.
I think Timber drops to her knees and puts her hand kind of like again with the book, like into his chest and sort of puts his hand on the book so that he's holding the book now and goes, I knew you sent us off on that mission on purpose. You wanted to save us, really. I know. It's okay. We'll save the watch, Captain. We'll make them better. We'll do it for you. It was always a little broken anyway. And she stands up and kind of, you know, almost sort of pats him on the head and then starts going, all right, we've got to get these civilians out of here. Right, let's go. And she just picks up 2 of these frozen, like, paralyzed, because she's actually seriously strong. She just picks up 2 of them and hoists them both on her shoulders and just, like, starts walking out. Like she's planning on doing that multiple times, getting them out of here.
Upper will put his hand on Tuvold's shoulder, and he's facing the door, so he's looking away from him, and he says while looking away, "Well, Sarge, I guess you found out today that your consequences always come back twofold." And I slowly put on the glasses, but realized they got broken.
I don't even know what to say to that one. That's terrible. That was great, but terrible.
Camera now hands out of the halls of justice, looking in all of Waterdeep, its lights twinkling in the night. City of Waterdeep, these murky depths, discovered new light somewhere deep down. Light of hope? Perhaps the luring light of an anglerfish. Only time will tell.
Eating Steve.
It's the little mouse tail hanging out of its mouth.
It was probably just paralyzed.
Yeah.
Oh God, Steve!
With that, our adventure comes to an end.
Yay!
Perfect.
Nice.
That was awesome.
Nice.
Thank you
was
so
awesome.
much, Brendon. That was awesome.
Oh, it was so cool.
Oh my god. I was double shocked. Shocked when the Sarge died. Shocked when he betrayed us. Oh,
I swear I saw you wiping a real tear from your eye at one point there,
I
Harriet.
did genuinely have a real tear, and I don't know if that's just because I'm tired, but I did. I was like, people are going to think I'm being like an actual wanker here, but I did actually have like a tear in my eye. Yeah.
Just too caught up.
I-
Too caught up in it.
Yeah.
It's too
I had
real.
the suspicions it was the Sarge when we got
Nice.
to that warehouse, but I didn't like to say because that might ruin the surprise.
I just did not at all,
Nice.
even a little bit.
That's awesome.
I
See,
thought it was
see?
the captain.
The real policeman knew who it was all along.
Yeah, the actual cop.
The actual cop.
I think we had some people in the
Love that.
chat that were pretty suspicious as well, which is good.
Yeah.
I thought it was the butler.
Honestly,
Hitler.
having a real cop in those situations where we're like, what are we supposed to do here? And you just kind of came in and we're like, so this says this in the manual at this point, and I was just like, oh, gold. Yes. that's what a cop would say. Mm-hmm. Yep. So good.
Yeah, that was seriously
Everybody
enjoyable.
was amazing.
Yeah.
Can I
It's good
say
fun,
how
thanks.
fun it was to
Appreciate
play
that.
with all of you? Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've done one of these. I love them.
And
Thanks for inviting me, team.
amazing art as well. Some great stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
So
the drawings, they were
good.
brilliant.
Yeah.
So good. Look, the crossbow bolts are coming back, and the
Nice.
potions. Ah,
Oh, mate.
I'm not gonna lie. I had you guys minimized, and I just had that on my screen the entire time.
yeah, fair enough.
Nice.
I'm not
Nice.
hearing Brendon now. Can anyone else hear
He
him?
hasn't really been talking. We've just been talking over the top of him.
Oh. I can't hear him.
Oh, yeah,
No,
no,
I
I
can't.
can't hear him now either.
No, neither.
No.
Nope,
No.
not at
Nope.
all.
Nope.
Nope.
Yeah,
It's
you.
definitely on your side. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not muted in Discord, but I don't know. Have you got a mute button on your microphone that you've
Hey,
bumped or something?
You know how you pulled out the cable for the power before? Did you pull out the microphone cable? Just asking.
I'm sure if he could be heard right now, he'd probably be wanting us to run through and plug everything that we're doing. So let's do the same order that we ran through it the last time. Gareth, why don't you take us through what it is that you're a part of and throw up a link in the chat and just tell us exactly what you've got going on.
Oh, cool. So I'm part of the Kiwis and Dragons podcast. I play a dwarf called Duncan Dana, who's a dwarf with a heart of gold and a brain of a turnip. We don't take our D&D seriously. It's quite irreverent. It's quite funny. We just have a good laugh. So we're on Podbean, Apple, Spotify. We've got a YouTube channel. So basically just search up Kiwis and Dragons and you'll find us. And I'll just plug I've got a novel coming out next year, which is based on a D&D wizard that I used to play. So that's been traditionally published here in New Zealand. So there'll be more of that next year, but look out for that. So thanks for inviting me to play today. I've had a great time. And I look forward to perhaps doing it again sometime. Thank you.
Let us know when the book is out. And maybe we can do a giveaway on getting Dicey as well, since you're now part of the
absolutely.
family
I will try
this.
and tap the publishers up for a few free copies for people to give away. So that'd be great.
Who pushing it? Is it Paper Road Press?
No, it's Bateman, her New Zealand publisher.
Oh, nice.
So,
Yeah.
But, it's anyone who plays D&D will sort of recognise all the tropes and all the stuff through it. It's literally come from the D&D wizard that I used to play. So if you love D&D, I think you'll love this novel. So yeah, anyway,
cool.
I've probably blabbed too much now, so I'll let someone else say something.
Over to you, Harriet.
Hey, if you guys don't know, I'm from the Road Unknown, so we are a live stream that we're playing weekly. So we've just finished our first season. So you can find us at YouTube/C/The Road Unknown or Twitter, The Road Unknown Show. Otherwise, you can find all of the things, the Twitch and the YouTube and the Twitter and the TikToks, which we've been doing at theroadunknown.com. And our next season is coming next year, hopefully. It was going to be coming slightly sooner, but our DM ran off to do a film in Ireland, which is super cool.
That's very cool.
Yeah, and that's us.
Cool. Julz.
Hey, I'm already putting links in the chat. So I am a part of a really cool action play called Fate of Isen, where I play two different characters on two different sides of the world in two different storylines, which is very fun. So I'm playing Marley Craft, the Bard Ranger, and Sasha Torchwood, the Dragonborn Sorcerer, and that's very fun. I also sometimes do Diceratops, which does live shows and podcast in Wellington, Bats Theatre usually. So that's very fun to come along to those shows. And if you enjoyed my style of crazy, you can actually hire me to do your very own DMing at your house or in your living room on your TV via Questbook, the DM hire service. I run campaigns and birthday parties and bachelor parties and all the craziness. So you can find me all over that. Basically, I love D&D, and come find me everywhere at Julz from NZ. Yeah.
Nice.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you now.
Yay!
Michael.
Okay. Well, I play Tony Spark, the Artificer Wild Sorcerer on Dungeons and Dipshits. It's a great podcast. It's chaotic, full of mayonnaise, which you gotta love. And I will link in the chat my Twitter as well, which if you want to just, chat to me. Also, there's a Dungeons and Dipshits Facebook, and Julz has linked our website. Thank you, Julz. You're onto it. I am not, but if you want to hit me up on my Twitter. It'll force me to use it more.
Yeah, Brendon.
Yes. So first of all, Andrew Kepple, our illustrator, you'll see there his Patreon. He's working on this amazing animated series called Papa Paleolithic. So you can watch the first episode that he's released, and it's like if you're impressed by what he was able to do on the fly, like you should see what he can do when he actually has the time to create. So you should absolutely check that out.
Andrew also does illustrations for Dungeons and Comedians, which is a live show in Christchurch. So if you're in Christchurch, you can come and see us at Little Andromeda. It also gets released as a podcast and on YouTube. So I'm going to put a link to an episode.
Cool.
Oh, will I?
Please do.
Please.
Yeah. If you want to kind of check out what it's like, this might be a good one to have a look at. This was a special online episode that we did during lockdown with a few special guests. We had David Correos, Brilly Stent, Chris Parker, and Abby Howes doing a one-shot adventure. It was an awful lot of fun, and Andrew was doing illustrations for that as well. So thank you, and thank you so much for having me.
Anytime. You guys are all awesome and welcome to be on all of our crossovers that we have and stream here at Getting Dicey. I'm Reagan. I am the DM for the Getting Dicey crew. We're playing through Curse of Strahd at the moment. We're going to be going live with episode 62 of that campaign tomorrow night. And I turned it off during this session, but we will have our trading card extension live tomorrow night, which is this cool thing where just by watching and being part of our chat, you earn channel points, and we wanted to find a way to like let you spend that in fun ways. And so we've got a little panel with cards that you can unlock of our characters. They start off as worn, kind of like old cards that, and the more you collect, the better quality they are. And so it's a really cool thing that no one else is doing on Twitch at the moment, that it like built into Twitch. So it's super exciting to be able to unload that tomorrow night. But if you like what we've seen, please do just find us here Monday nights, New Zealand time, or you can find us on YouTube, YouTube.com/Getting Dicey. Basically everywhere, just Getting Dicey. But you guys have been fantastic. It's been a great crew. We've had heaps of people in. We had a really nice raid at one point, bringing in a bunch of new viewers as well. And you guys are all awesome. I want all of our Getting Dicey regulars to check out these amazing people and what they do. They're so good. And I just want to call out the Road Unknown for doing, like, I think you guys are the first people to be doing it in like a studio, like actual studio with cameras set up, and the editing is top notch. So when they go live next year, you will definitely hear us hyping them up for sure.
Oh, I'm gonna be there.
Yeah. I built some of the new studio, and that was the first time that I had ever done that. And yeah, the carpet is badly laid, and the soundproofing is not done well. But you know, you got to learn somewhere. So yeah.
Yeah, but all of these podcasts and streams are worthy of checking out, so please do check them out. Thank you guys all for coming along, and thank you everyone for watching. We're going to turn off now.
Yay!
All right, good night everybody. And Andrew, thank you so much for the amazing art. Thank you.